Hey guys, I'm Olivia, and you're watching True Exclusives at home.
Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home?
Quarantine has been nuts for me. I lost two people during the quarantine, so it's been insane. And then I brought my dad closer to me because I don't want anything to happen to him. For most people who don't know, I lost my mom for about over a year now to Parkinson's disease. So I want my dad to be closer. We're moving him closer to us, but we got him staying with us now while all this is going on because I just want to take all precautions. My aunt had called to say that my uncle was in the hospital. She didn't want to tell my dad because she was hoping that he would get better. Yes, he was 80 years old, but he had no underlying conditions. He was in great conditions. He drove, he did everything on his own, and she just thought it was a cold, but it happened to be COVID. He was in the hospital for like 2 weeks, and then she called to tell him that he's been in there for 2 weeks. And literally the day after she told us, he passed. So my father was a wreck because he was my dad's like best friend in the entire world. And of course, now I'm bawling, so we have to deal with that. And I think maybe a month before that, my fur baby, thank you for wishing me, your sincerest love with that. He passed away, so I was still dealing with that. And then I get my uncle, and then I had another really good friend who I was with during my G Unit years. He caught COVID while he was in the hospital recovering from cancer, and it just made his decline so much worse. And then I got hit with that, so I was like, okay, it can't be anymore. It's a lot. And I had already stepped away from social media from when I was dealing with my mom, having to be one of the caretakers for her with my dad, and then dealing with the grief after she's now passed. So then it's like everybody who's passing now brings all of that stuff back up for me. And I just have to learn how to basically focus the positivity, because it's so easy to get drawn into a depression, to not want to even just open your curtains up, just the smallest little thing, you really just want to go under the bed, not in the bed, under the bed. So it's been a lot, but I have a great, great fiance, and he's been helpful throughout this whole process. Having my dad here also, because I don't want him to be, by his house by himself, dealing with this by himself also. So just trying to keep, family and, friends close, speaking to who I can via Skype or via FaceTime and everything during these times, since you can't go out and you can't really hug. Like I want to hug my dad so many times, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm asymptomatic and I may just be a carrier and have no symptoms and give it to him. So I'm like precautious, so super cautious about everything. And every time he goes out, I'm like, you wore your mask, you wash your hands. So it's so much in this day and age, and I just don't understand why people really don't think like COVID is a thing. I don't understand. Everybody thinks it's a conspiracy. Whatever you may think it is, it's here, period. So we have to deal with it accordingly, and not just be like that stupid person who's in the White House who is oblivious to everything going on. In my childhood, I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, and then I was back and forth to the States. And let's see. I mean, I used to sing with my grandfather in Jamaica when I was like 2, 3 years old a lot, my grandmother and my grandfather. And then my mom was just a natural born singer. So she would sing to me in her belly and all that stuff, like everybody says. And when we moved to Queens, my mom was like super into every position in the church. I mean, like every position you could think of, she had it. So I'm at Bible study, I'm at choir practice with her, I'm there when she's baking, to serve people, everything. And I just love the camaraderie, and I love learning about the Lord. And I learned at a really, really young age And then just singing those hymns with her, and getting the bond moments, and learning about Christianity. I think those are the things that made me realize, okay, I love singing. And then as I got older, I was like, no, I really enjoy how people feel when I sing. There's a difference when you love what you do, but when you see how it inspires somebody else or helps somebody else, it's a whole nother feeling. Like when people say, um, going to work, it's a job, but my job doesn't feel like a job because I enjoy it, and I'm in turn helping people with my gift that God gave me.
His eye is on the sparrow. Whoa,
Actually, my manager at the time was my cousin Paul, and we were doing like showcases around the city and everything. And I believe that that's where I met one of the guys who were leaving Arista to start J Records with Clive, Keith Naftali. Absolutely love him still to this day. And they set up a meeting after one of my showcases. I believe it was at the was it called the China Club? It was China something. It could be the China Club. But after that show, I was like super hype, and Paul was like, "All right, we got a meeting with one of the A&Rs who's going over to J Records with him. They're shutting down Arista." So I'm like, "All right, this is gonna be dope." I went and found me the most Foxy Brown outfit you could think of. I mean, the rapper Foxy Brown, like shiny halter top, the fitted small skirt, a white fur. Like, so I OD'd walking into that building. And what, I don't know if this helped or hurt. Well, clearly, thank God it helped because I signed with them. But I walk in looking like that, and then I sing "His Eyes on the Sparrow," and I know they were probably like, "What?" They probably weren't expecting that with my look. But I mean, I was all over the place back then. You just dress how you felt, and that was that was it. And it was just the most awesome moment. I remember taking that drive up to Westchester to Clive Davis's house, and he sent a limo for me and my mom and my cousin Paul. He comes with us, and on our way down, and it was like the longest drive ever from Queens. It had to have been like 3 hours, and I don't think I drank anything in the car. I was just so excited and so nervous at the same time. And when I get there, he has a house full of all the executives who are going to the new label, and they have this big party for me. Mind you, I'm 19, remember? So I am just blown away. And he takes me around to meet everybody, and then he brings me inside, and he's walking me through like the corridor and showing me all of the artists. And he comes to Whitney Houston, and I'm like, oh my God. And he's like, I can't wait to put one of your plaques next to this. And I'm just like, Clive Davis is literally arm in arm with me, walking me through his house, telling me he's gonna have one of my plaques. Like, there's no words for a 19-year-old to describe that. Like, I still can feel how I felt that day. So it was just one of the most, it was such a blessing. That's all I could say. To tell you how much of a blessing it was, I don't know if I've told this before. I probably have, but I don't know if many people know it. So before I signed the contract with Clive, I literally get on my knees and I told everybody I'm going to pray before I sign my contract. And they all got quiet and prayed with me, and then I signed my contract. There was so much politics that goes on inside of the industry and inside of these label buildings that people will never know and never understand. So, unbeknownst to me at the time, I'm just thinking, oh, I'm getting dropped. Maybe my album didn't sell as much as they expected it to, and all the other things that go into your head. And then come to find out from one of my A&Rs, he actually planned for me to get dropped so that I can go to Interscope with him. He wanted to take me to Interscope with him. So when I find that out, I'm like, okay, at least I have, something to stand on. I was like, okay, I have to go find another record deal, blah, blah, blah. He was like, no, I got everything set up already. We're just going out here. Like, I was literally picked up and moved to LA once I signed with Interscope. Like, he really had everything planned. And I remember Mary was at his house and all these other people. And so again, I'm plopped into another awesome situation. And then out of nowhere, I get a call from Chris Lighty. And he's like, hey, I hear you're over at Interscope. I have an artist that I manage who would really love for you to sign with him. And I'm like, well, how does that work? I'm already signed to the label. And they were like, well, it's a subsidiary of the label because they have a label on Interscope. So it would be Interscope/G Unit that you'd be signed to. And then he tells me it's 50 Cent. So I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, I'm a solo artist. 50 Cent is the most popping thing right now. What do I do? I'm talking with my manager, my cousin at the time. I'm like, if I don't sign, will I get shelved for not signing? Because, I hear all the stories again. This is my second label now. And I'm like, I can't not sign because they might just screw me over for not signing with like the biggest artist in the world. And we're talking about it. And I'm like, man, screw it. Like we're here already. We're at Interscope. He's at Interscope, And that was probably within the first month of me being in LA. So I meet them up at Interscope with Jimmy Iovine, and Timbaland was in the office at the time too. And I signed the deal. It took a lot of getting used to because it's an all male group, of course, and I'm the only woman. And I think we started the tour like literally right after we put out Candy Shop, because I think I did the Smile video for Banks first, and then we did So Fly. So I guess that was their way of introducing me first by showing me the videos. And then Fifth and I recorded Candy Shop with Scott Storch in Miami. And then it was out of here. Like we never expected it. Like we knew we had a good record on our hands, but we had no idea. And like Jesse Terrero was the best and still is one of the best video directors out. And he absolutely murdered that video. So kudos to him for that. And then we did Best Friend, and that was out of here too. And then so, I mean, we had some really, really good times. I mean, I know they say, good things don't last long and all of that stuff, but we had a good 4-year run. That's kind of long. I used to always tell Fifth, we have no R&B presence up at the label. It's all hip hop guys, and he wanted me to follow the procedure of how he did with his albums and his singles. Same thing with the all the guys. But I'm like, okay, you guys are rappers. I don't have rap songs, for my album. Like you're featured on it, but I was like, I'm singing on the album. So I was like, we need R&B A&R up here. And I remember going to sit with oh my God, what's his name? Oh my gosh, he's so gonna kill me. Okay, he did Keisha Cole's record, the Love record, and I cannot remember his name, and I know it is on the tip of my tongue. But so we go and sit with him, me and Sha Money at the time, because Sha Money was the president of G Unit, and I was like, okay, he wants to take over the album, Sha. Let's just hear him out because I need a R&B person up here. And we thought everything that he was saying was amazing. And I was like, all right, all we need is for 50 to sign off on this. And yeah, you guys have heard him say we're an island by ourselves. He does not want, us to come off the island. That shit was true because he did not want me to do the album with them. He was like, no, I want it to be strictly with G Unit people. And I was so hurt because I knew that if I did this with him, it was going to be a hit because that Love record was freaking out of here. And his producing, why can I not remember his freaking name? It was Jimmy Iovine's right-hand man. It's going to come to me when we get off, and it's really going to kill me. Oh my gosh. Watch, I'm probably going to text you when we get off. But either way, I was just like so heartbroken. And then, it was things like that led to the split because I was like, you guys are really not hearing what I'm saying, that you're following something for an R&B artist that's not meant for an R&B artist. So we would bump heads like that. And he, again, he didn't want me to work with certain people. So it was a lot. And I didn't even know that I was going to get dropped. Actually, one of the people who worked at Violator as my management, she had called to give me the heads up to let me know, like, okay, I just want to let you know that next week you're going to get dropped. And I was like, come again, Lori? So that's really how I found out. 50 never told me. He never spoke about it with me. And it was crazy because we talked all the time. So I was like, did I do something wrong? Like, I don't understand. But I was out to do. And one of the things that made me upset the most, Missy had did around 4 records for my G Unit album. And she took the time to, I mean, like, she put together a whole production. Like, she had dancers come and do videos for it. This is just for the song. This is not like we're about to put the song out. This is just to present it to him, like the full package of the body of work that we did, so that he could see that she's serious about, this is as a producer. Because Missy's like one of the dopest producers who I don't think gets the amount of credit that she deserves. She produces, she writes, she arranges. She's so dope. So to see her put that much energy into my project and then 50 not understand, like, that's not the route we want to go. And I'm like, what? Because these songs were all smashes, every one of them that I did with her. So I don't know if he knew because I was mad at that. So he was like, I'm gonna start some shit just because she's mad that I didn't take the records that, her and Missy did, and that's the type of person he is. Like, he likes to play around a lot, and he thinks it's funny, but it's not funny to the other person, so that was hurtful to me because I'm like, come on, dog, you know better. You know what I'm saying? One, me. Two, why are we playing childish games right now? Like, I don't understand. So again, another thing that you have to deal with in the industry when you're a woman.
In spite of everything I've been through, I gotta say thank you.
After G Unit, there was definitely a time where I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Like, seeing how things really work behind the scenes, that can really put you at a halt, because like I said, it was more than high school. Like, and the politics is really dirty, like how they play politics right now in the White House. And when people say you have to be built for this, unfortunately, that shit is really true. Like, you have to have the strongest soul. Your spirit really has to be centered. Your mind has to be focused. Like, that shit really is draining. It's a lot. And that's why when people see some artists just go on a hiatus, or they come back and they're totally different, or they're like, okay, one big case in point. When Left Eye went to where did she go again when she wanted to take a spiritual journey? Like, things like that, those are actually needed. And it's crazy that we have to do things like that in order, like, we really have to take a break to come back. And I don't know what's going to make it change for most artists, because it's a mental thing. And if you're, and I can't say if you're strong enough, because a lot of us are so strong to a fault where we hide it so that people don't know anything is wrong. But I don't know, we have to have, you just have to have a good system, a good support system, because this industry really can break you. I mean, even, for the artists who, like, the people who start rumors on other artists, a lot of people don't come from that, because that shit is really hurtful. So some people don't want to deal with having to dredge up certain things, or having to always keep defending themselves and stuff. Like, people don't realize it's a lot to be in the public eye, and a lot of people don't really want to be in the public eye. They just want to do what they love, which is sing, but you're thrusted into the public eye. So it's a lot that comes with this, fortunately and unfortunately. I mean, for me, singing will always be a part of me. Like I always used to say that if God took my voice away, that would be the most devastating thing for me ever, because it's the most natural gift that he's giving me. Like I do it effortlessly. It's just like somebody who knows, to build a car. Like they don't even need to know the parts. They can just pick it up and put it together with their eyes closed. That's how I feel about singing. So I could never not sing, and then thank God he gave me another talent to act. So now I'm, learning how to go through that craft. And for people who don't know that, I like voice acting too. Like my friends used to tease me because I always did Bunny Swan's voice from SNL. I don't know if, people know her, but like, I have a big personality, but I hide it a lot purposely because I don't want people in my personal, and I know a lot of artists who are like that. And it's not because we don't want to be engaged with you. Sometimes you just can't, because when you give so much of yourself to everybody, you're drained. You have nothing left for you. So, when we keep enough for us, it's our fuel, it's like a gas tank, and then we're walking around on E. I met Rich Dollars in 2009, and he then goes on to be my manager, and we became really, really good friends, like really fast. Like he basically was like one of my big brothers. Um, so before I even go to him, because then it brings us into the love and hip hop. So Mona Scott, I've known since Violator. She was a part of our management team over Violator with Chris Lighty. So she calls in 2010, to tell me that, we're doing this show on VH1 and I really want you to be a part of it. And she's, explaining it to me, and she was like, but I really just need you to come into the office. So, and her and I have always had a good rapport. So I'm like, okay, I can take a listen. So now it's 2010, and I'm already signed under management with Rich. So of course I bring him with me because I'm, you're my manager. In which retrospect, I'm like, I really didn't have to. I could have just gave him his, percentage for being on the show. But me, this is my friend, you're my manager. Come on. So I'm in the meeting with Mona, and she's telling me, what she wants to do with it. And I'm like, okay, this sounds, really good. Just let me know who else is going to be in it, and, we can figure it out. And from there, that's when she has, Chrissy come in, Emily, and actually Nisa Hilton, who I don't know, I hate saying because this was Puff's baby mom. I really hate having to say that, but you guys should know who Nisa is by now. So for the people who don't know, and that was the original four who was supposed to be on the show. So um, that's what turned into Love and Hip Hop, and that's how Rich. Then I bring Rich on season 2 of Love and Hip Hop, and then that's when things started to. My eyes started to open to realize, okay, Rich does not want to be a manager. Rich wants to be in the spotlight. You like this a little bit too much, and it's okay if you want to be in the spotlight. Like if you have plans to do stuff, like Puff would be in the spotlight, because Puff really belongs in the spotlight. Like he was built for that. Rich, that's not what you were built for, So it went to his head. He started getting egotistical and all type of crazy stuff, and then he's sleeping with all these hoes, and his lifestyle was. I'm just like, okay, this is not the guy that I met, who was in charge of my career, and now it's just going somewhere else. So then I was like, this is not it. And that was one of also the reasons when I was like, okay, I really don't think I want to do Love and Hip Hop anymore, and I want to get away from my manager. And in 2013, that's when I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. And I literally left because I was living in Jersey at the time. Like I had the movers come move my stuff. Rich didn't even know I moved out of my place. And one day he called like, yeah, I'm coming by the crib. I don't live there no more. Like my nigga, I'm going. So like that's how annoyed I was at the whole situation. So yeah, Aquarius says when we had enough of something, we just go. when Mona described the show to us, she told it to us as this is gonna be the Black Sex in the City, loving hip hop as far as I had the hip hop thing because I was with G Unit and she wanted, to talk about things like that. And then Jim with Chrissy, and then Emily, I think she was still back and forth with Fab at the time. And then, Misa with the whole styling and everything, styling all the dope hip hop artists. And also, it was really sold to us as something else. So as we're shooting and we see everything that's going on, we would all be whispering to each other like, did she tell you that we were going to do this? And, so it was one of those things. And back then we all stuck together a lot, and we would be like, all right, if she wants to do this, we're not doing that. We doing this. Or if we're getting this in the contract, let's make sure we all get this in the contract. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things. But now this shit is every man for themselves. The storylines is shit. Like, some people got a lot of stuff going on, and it's just not, it's not what I expected for me, but I congratulate Mona and where she's taking it to. I hear a lot of people give her, the backlash of, oh, the way she portrays Black people and blah, blah, blah. Now, I wouldn't necessarily put that on her because it's the person or the artist, you're the one filming, so you're giving her the content in order to pick and choose what she wants to put on the air, but you did give her the content. So, okay, if she doesn't use the good stuff that you did, she's putting the stuff that she knows is going to look good on TV, and I can't be mad at her for that because unfortunately the foolery sells, so that's why you got to just watch what you do and literally be yourself. If you're going to play a fool for the TV, then that's on you. But when people see me, I'm going to be the same calm Olivia unless I'm pushed to my element. I will not be provoked into something because you want to look for the TV. That's just not me. So that's why when people will be like, oh, she's the mature one, or she doesn't get into no shit, or Olivia, she just don't want to. No, I'm not into that. That's what that is. I'm not here to fight and argue with people. Like, I have a real career. If we're not on here talking about stuff that benefits me or helps me, or that I'm not able to inspire people, I'm not going to be on TV looking like an asshole just because. That's not how I was raised. That's just not what I do. I remember the producers had called and said, we have this dope record. We really want you to be on. We already have Drake on it as a feature. He signed off on everything. We have the okay to use it. We told them who it's going to be for, blah, blah, blah. They showed us the paperwork because we were like, are you sure? Yes, everything is straight. Okay, bet. So go and record the verses, send it back. They love it. Next thing we know, I didn't approve this. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Drake, how did you not approve it? Like, the producers have the paperwork. Your signature is on everything. How is this? I don't understand. So then I'm like, since when? First of all, it was for a mixtape thing also. So now we beefing about mixtape stuff that you approved and that you got paid for and that you signed off on. Like, I'm so fucking lost at how a lot of these rappers have acted during their career as if, see, I'm just gonna get pissed because it just doesn't add up. Like, dude, you got paid for the record already. The producers have the right to use the record already. So I don't understand. But I'll never forget. I did after December blew up, and then Jimmy was like, "I want to get on the remix." Of course, Jimmy, get on the remix. So we then go to perform it at Hot 97 that year at the Summer Jam. And I'll never forget. After we performed it, we kill it. I get off the stage. Then Drake and Wayne go on. Wayne sings a bit of December on there. So now I'm on a super high. Me and Rich are leaving, and I see Drake in his truck, and he's driving by, the window was down. I just rolled my fucking eyes so hard and turned my head. Don't look at me, dog. Like, you think I don't remember? Like, I was so, and see, Aquarius, we have a bad habit of holding on to things, but that shit really hurt me to my core that you would try to play me like that, play anybody like that. But then your boss, whoever Wayne is to him, is up there singing December, and you on stage with him though. and you know it's my song, and you know how you did me when that Control record came out. Just stuff like that is just fugazi, man. That shit is whack as fuck. There's no other way to describe it. So, Better Than My Last was directed by Sean Baker, and he's one of my favorite directors. I've actually shot 2 movies with him previous to this. So, this one is based on a true story, and Don Kwan is his name. And so, what happened? I'm gonna give you like the small version if I can. So Don gets involved with the Russian mafia, and they end up doing like credit card fraud and all of this other crazy stuff. He ends up going to jail. Um, he has a wife and a side chick. I play the side chick. In real life, he ends up marrying the side chick. You see him go through everything that he goes through with the Russians in the movie, and then it shows how he turns his life around for prison reform and helping kids. It's just insane. So they show you the fraud stuff to his personal, to how he, changed, towards the end. But it's an amazing true story. And everybody knows Hassan Johnson from The Wire. He's my co-star in the movie. And there's a few other good people, but this was really fun to shoot, and it was absolutely one of the hardest roles that I had to do because I am pregnant midway through the movie up towards the end, and having to really act like I'm pushing out a baby and carrying this baby on set for certain amounts of time while we were shooting was a really different experience, but it was so good because it really pushed me, and I made sure I was my most authentic self. So I really hope that you guys enjoy it because I ain't gonna say I did my thing, but I did my thing. We were just finished shooting when COVID kind of really started to happen here, like January, February. We had just wrapped in February. So they're in the middle of editing everything now, and they told me they're getting the posters and stuff ready. So most likely, if it's supposed to come out at the end of the year or so, I'm sure it'll be like the home releases how they have, and they charge us $20 to watch it. It's probably going to be one of those, but trust me, it's so worth it. So the first singles Join Me. We actually are just about finished shooting the video. We did it something different since you can't be around people and you're supposed to socially distance. So it's really going to be like a movie. I don't want to tell you how we did it, but I am so excited about this video. And then the new single that we just put out, One More Chance, featuring Papa Che Che and Boy Young. I remember when I first heard the music, I already knew that this record was a smash. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go record my parts right now. And sometimes things like come to you or it takes a second. It really just came to me. And I was like, I love this record. Then Papa Che Che got on it and his verse was amazing. Boy Young is actually his son. And it's so crazy when he did the hook and sent it back. And he was like, if you want to change it or if you want to get on it more. And I was like, I'll just sing behind him. I was like, this is dope. I was like, I don't even want to, I was like, I don't want to change it. I was like, you can leave it. Like everything just came together, with this record. And it's absolutely one of my favorite records on the album. And you're going to hear at least 6 records that are by the same producer who did Join Me. His name is HV, and we just have a great connection. His music is just amazing. Like he is a genius in the studio. Like I can tell him, I can like hum something for something that I want, and he'll play it, and then he'll put the instruments to it, and then he'll get on the boards, and he's just really really good at knowing my sound right now, especially with the sound that I'm going for this album. So that's why he got 6 records on the album, because he really is that dope, and it complements all of the stuff I wrote. And then you will get some reggae vibes on the album as well. So you're gonna get a lot of good different vibes, but they all blend together. And the name of the album is called Pressure. I call it that because I feel like I'm under a lot of pressure, but I feel like, pressure makes you stronger. And, when you're a diamond, you're pressed. So I was like, pressure, I'm going to go with that. That sounds good to me.
Just one you don't get no love.